In 55 BCE, Pompey the Great staged an elephant hunt in the Circus Maximus. 20 elephants were released onto the racetrack, pursued by spearmen from North Africa. The elephants defended themselves, using their trunks to tear away the hunters' shields, but as more javelins struck home, the massive animals grew desperate. They attempted to escape, hurling themselves against the iron fences protecting the spectators. The barriers bent and shook, terrifying the audience. Disaster was only averted by the hunters, who surrounded and brought down the elephants. Watching these games must have been a nerve-wracking experience, as beast hunts often featured large predators, lions, leopards, and tigers, that could leap over high walls, as well as elephants and rhinos capable of crashing through almost any obstacle. Hunters hurled spears and shot arrows in all directions, while gladiators sometimes joined the fray. On occasion, entire battles were staged with real weapons amid the chaos of leaping animals and flying projectiles. How often were spectators injured or worse during Roman games? The Colosseum could seat around 50,000 spectators, where the grandest Roman spectacles were held. Let's focus on the Colosseum. The worst seats were at the top, where slaves and women stood on rickety wooden benches. Below them was the general admission section, the Menianum, where spectators crowded onto narrow stone benches. The lowest part of the Menianum, separated by a walkway from the rows above, was reserved for members of the equestrian order. These benches, made of marble and slightly wider, reflected the higher social status of their occupants. The most luxurious seating was in the podium, closest to the arena where senators sat with their families and attendants. The podium consisted of broad marble tiers, and instead of benches, senators brought their own cushioned chairs. The best seats in the house were on the long sides of the Colosseum, at the minor axes of the podium. One side housed the imperial box, where the emperor and his entourage sat, while the opposite side featured the pulvinar, a section displaying images and attributes of the gods and deified emperors, set in elaborate chairs. Other special sections were designated for the Vestal Virgins and visiting dignitaries. Seats in the podium offered easy access to the Colosseum's amenities, water fountains, lavatories, and in hot weather, perfumed mists sprayed from the walls. Vendors selling wine and snacks likely worked the stands. The most important figures in Rome, including the emperor, occupied the first rows. But how were they protected from stray arrows and leaping animals? The arena was encircled by a 13-foot travertine wall topped with a barrier. Although no trace of this barrier remains, scholars believe it resembled the fence used in Nero's amphitheater. Often, tusks projected from the arena wall, supporting nets of gilded wire. Below these nets, rows of ivory rollers prevented big cats from climbing the walls. Armed guards patrolled the walkway between the barrier and the first tier of the podium, while sharpshooters with bows were likely stationed at intervals along the base of the podium to react swiftly if an animal or gladiator attempted to scale the barrier. Despite such precautions, several disasters occurred in Roman amphitheaters. The most notorious took place during the reign of Tiberius, when a temporary wooden amphitheater in the town of Fidenae collapsed, killing 20,000 spectators. In the reign of Nero, a gladiatorial show in Pompeii turned deadly when a brawl erupted among spectators. What began with shouting and stone throwing escalated into a full-scale battle, leaving dozens dead. In response, the Senate banned Pompeii from hosting gladiatorial games for 10 years. Even mundane dangers lurked for spectators. Heatstroke, for example, was a common problem in the lower rows, which were constantly exposed to the sun. It may have been after one such incident that Caligula allowed senators to wear sun hats during the games. Sometimes, animals gathered for beast hunts escaped before reaching the arena. There are accounts of a rogue leopard attacking an artist and a massive Indian python rumored to have hunted children in the slums of Rome. However, as far as we know, no animal ever made it over the Colosseum's barrier. Remarkably, we have no record of any fatalities in the stands caused by stray arrows or javelins from the beast hunters. Gladiators posed little threat to spectators as their weapons were designed for close combat, and no gladiator seeking freedom would risk throwing a weapon wildly into the crowd. That said, there are accounts of gladiator-related deaths outside Rome. Valerius Maximus, writing during the reign of Tiberius, tells of an equestrian named Rufus who dreamt he would be killed by a gladiator. The next day, while accompanying friends to the theater in Syracuse, he was horrified to see the gladiator from his dream. Although his friends dismissed his fears, Rufus took his seat and watched as the gladiator defeated his opponent. As the gladiator prepared to deliver the final blow, he raised his sword high and in a shocking turn hurled it into the stands, skewering Rufus through the heart. While we cannot verify the truth of this story, the setting, a theater not designed for gladiatorial combat, lends it plausibility, as theaters typically lacked high walls or nets, leaving spectators in the front rows dangerously exposed. In contrast, the Colosseum's high walls and nets protected spectators from gladiators, though they were still at the mercy of the emperors. During Domitian's reign, a spectator seated near the imperial box complained that the emperor had rigged the games in favor of his favorite gladiators. Furious, Domitian ordered guards to drag the man from his seat and throw him to wild dogs in the arena. A century later, it was rumored that Commodus planned to shoot random spectators with arrows, imitating Hercules' slaying of the Stymphalian birds. We don't know exactly how many spectators were injured or killed in the Colosseum over the centuries. Our sources are incomplete and only mention incidents involving emperors or notable figures. However, based on what we do know, it's clear that a day at the Colosseum was never entirely without risk, even for those watching safely from the stands. If you enjoy our content, we'd love your support. By joining one of our channel memberships, you help us continue creating videos like this one while gaining access to some amazing perks. As a member, you'll unlock exclusive content available only to supporters, earn loyalty badges to show off in comments and live chats, and enjoy priority responses to your comments, shoutouts, and more. The best part? Memberships start at just $2.99 a month, less than a cup of coffee. Even small contributions make a big difference for the PJ Bible TV team in covering production costs and delivering the content you love. And if you're not ready to become a channel member today but still want to support us, there are other ways to help. Engaging with our videos is a tremendous way to show your support. By taking just a few moments to like the video, share it with friends, family, or on social media, and leave a comment, you're telling the YouTube algorithm to share our content with more people. Your support, no matter how you choose to show it, means the world to us. Thank you for being part of the PJ Bible TV community.